Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to start and scale a thriving virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 184. This episode changed my life.
Your life, Joe?
Or the life of virtual assistants like you who are listening right now.
Yeah, recently we put a call out to our listeners saying, hey, we want to hear your stories. We want to know from the last 12 months, which episode of the podcast or episodes really made an impact, whether that's personally on whether it's your mindset, or maybe just something really practical that you've been able to implement in your business.
And sometimes has really made a lot of money or got you fully booked, or like I'm so excited to read out some of these responses because like this is why we do this, isn't it, Sam? Like to change your life. And we love hearing these stories. So we're excited to get started.
Yeah. So thank you. First off, thank you for everybody that did reply and have given us permission to share this with everybody. This is exciting. What a great way to kind of start wrapping up the year, I reckon.
Yeah. All right. Let's kick us off, Sam.
Okay. First up, Tanya de Jong from Virtually There. Tanya says, the one episode that made me go back for seconds was 166 passive income streams for your virtual assistant business. Initially, I thought I didn't need to listen to this one as I don't want to bring on a team. But lo and behold, it turned out to be the episode I went back to and keep going back to. Particularly point number 3, where you reframed passive income and talked about hiring subcontractors.
I love this episode because I don't think many virtual assistants, including Tanya, had thought about actually what are the options and what's going to make sense as a virtual assistant. Because I think there's a lot of, we talked about this in the episode, a lot of content on Instagram about digital products and, you know, just creating this. And then like you can sell so many of them and you make money while you sleep. And I think virtual assistants can get really caught up in that. I love that Tanya still listened to this anyway, even though she thought it might not be relevant, and helped to reframe what passive income could be for virtual assistants.
Yeah, great episode. If you haven't listened to it already, please go and do so. Episode 166. Thank you, Tanya.
All right. Next up is Corinne Kendall from Streamline VA. For Corinne, episode 180 on burnout, the one where we were in the midst of burnout. This has deeply resonated with Corinne. She said, the honest conversation about living in burnout struck a chord as it made me reflect on the importance of self-care and sustainable practices for myself and within my VA agency. It prompted a mindset shift, inspiring me to prioritize well-being and resilience, not just for myself, but the entire team. Recognizing the signs discussed in the episode, I implemented strategies to foster a healthier work environment, encouraging open communication about workload and stress levels. This episode has been a catalyst for positive changes in how I approach the demands of the virtual assistant business, fostering a culture of balance and well-being that has not only improved productivity, but overall the satisfaction of my team. I have already managed to pull myself out of the burnout, and the episode hasn't even been out that long. She's right. It was like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was November. It was November. Yeah. This one really touched me, I think, reading Corinne's story, because it was such a hard episode to record. Like we were very vulnerable, very open. And right up until, or even after posting it the week that it came out, I was still doubting whether or not we'd done the right thing. I was worried that it was because it's a very different tone than we usually record because we were in the midst of burnout ourselves. I was worried that I didn't want to bring everybody else down with us. You know what I mean? So the fact that Corinne is saying, hey, my God, so much positive has come out of that episode. It makes me very relieved as well and very grateful that it's been able to do that for Corinne, and not just Corinne. Turns out that episode 180, this burnout one, also was Nikki Bolin from Not a BA's favourite. Nikki shared with us, I think the moment on the recent burnout episode was my favourite. So many of us have been in the same place recently, and it's tough. And as much as we don't want you ladies to be there, it's also reassuring to know that I'm not the only one.
We heard this quite a lot from this episode. I'm really sorry that you ladies are in burnout, but it's actually really, really nice knowing that you also experience this and I don't have to feel alone. There was a number of you who reached out with that same kind of sentiment. So we are glad that you don't feel alone and that it really helped you.
Yeah, it was Amanda Fleming from Virtual Coastie. One of her big episodes from the year, Amanda shared, the recent burnout episode was a major for me. And after realizing that I do most of the 12 signs of burnout and that I'm totally right there at the moment. Thank you so much for your honesty. We all look up to you guys, and nice to know you guys suffer too. Thanks, Amanda.
But that sentiment was the same for many of them. Yeah, it's happens to everyone. Like, we may outwardly appear like we have it all together, but actually there are times where we do struggle as well. And we've had to put things in place so that we don't go back to that place.
Yeah. If you haven't listened to it already, episode 180 is the one about burnout. Amanda Fleming's other episode that really made an impact this year was episode 175, our interview with Chantel Good, New Zealand's Virtual Assistant of the Year for 2023. Amanda says, Chantel is an agency owner that I admire, and this episode made me realize we are all on different paths, and we all need to build our own businesses our own way so they work for our own life by design. Amanda says that she loves hearing from other VAs that are also out there doing it. So other highlights were the interviews that we had with Monique, Debbie, and Kelly, and Tracy. So they all really resonated with Amanda.
That's awesome. And Amanda also says that she is a weekly listener and has never missed an episode, listening to every single one. So thank you so much, Amanda. And I love that you have picked out this part of the episode with Chantel, because it's so true. You do not have to build a business exactly like all the other virtual assistants in the industry. You can absolutely build the business that you want, however you want. And I love that that's what we teach inside the Scale Up Mastermind, is that there's not just one pathway. You can choose the pathway that's right for you. If you want to work on the weekend and have Friday afternoon off instead, like, you can do that without feeling guilty. There are so many things that you can do however you want to do them, and there's no right or wrong.
I think we see a lot of virtual assistants getting caught up in another virtual assistant's journey and pathway and success, and just think that that has to be the only way, or that they have to do it that way as well. And it's absolutely just not the case.
Not at all. Okay, next up we have Debbie Mills Robertson from Task Diva. Now, Debbie's favorite episode was, or the one that made, it's not exactly sometimes the favorite, but it's the one that makes the most impact, which is the important thing here, and has changed Debbie's business and life. Number 110, Stop Adding Services.
The good one. This one's basically about niching, isn't it? It's kind of two things. It's stop adding services thinking that it's going to get you more clients and more money, but also really think about going the opposite direction, which is really specializing, becoming the expert VA in your field.
So Debbie writes, I remember you guys talking about why niching makes sense, and the paintbrush analogy was perfect. I thought that's what I really need to do. It took me a while and I did it in stages, but I'm really glad I did it because it has made such a difference to my business. Being the go-to for my service keeps me fully booked.
Yeah. Virtual assistants listening, if you've been fighting this, please listen to other VAs' examples of how it has positively impacted their business when they finally do find that courage to niche and become that expert VA. I think sometimes the term expert can be a bit intimidating.
Yeah, and I love that you use the word courage, because it does take courage to go, really? Am I really going to just offer one service? But if you are like, I need to listen to this paintbrush analogy so that I really get this and make that courageous decision, then yeah, absolutely listen to episode 110. Thanks so much, Debbie. And we're so proud of you taking that plunge to do the niching so well. And you've done it a few times and really niched down, and like it's showing. You're booked out ahead now. You've got your pipeline filled with your course builds and course reviews. And we love that for you. So thanks so much, Debbie.
Yeah, we really do. Okay, next up, Tracy Locke from your A team. Tracy's actually shared 2 episodes with us that made a big impact for her. The first one, I love this. This is on the list that we're talking about it. Episode 179, which was the interview with David Morrison, Chief Exec of Thank You Payroll. And we talked about social impact in your business. Like, this was an episode that I had a huge aha moment as well. But Tracy shares that it really helped me cement how we can continue to support charities without necessarily doing those massive, big public fundraisers. Mm-hmm. It also helped me form the base of our new well-being policy. My people are so important and ingrained in our values. I really wanted to celebrate and support our people better.
Oh, love that. That was such a recent episode too. And yeah, I was so grateful to have David come on and spend his time with us, because we had a few aha moments in that too, right? Like realizing that doing good starts really close to home, right with you and your team, and making sure that your people are priority. Your well-being is a priority, and making sure that they're doing okay. They're doing good in themselves and in their roles.
Yeah. If you're listening and you were actually part of Tracy's team, take a minute to be really grateful for having a leader like Tracy that is putting you first. Yeah. Great. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Awesome work, Tracy.
Tracy's other episode that she wanted to share with us was episode 133. This is a surprising one for me. Episode 133. Are they really a shitty client? Tracy writes, this one was much earlier in the year, and I actually think it might have been late last year, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Tracy says, I remember when I listened to it, I was in a situation with a client that I felt was pushing boundaries and being overall just not great. After listening to the episode and looking inwards and reviewing the service that we provided, I realized we had not been following our gold standard or internal processes or communicating well with the said client. One Zoom meeting later, reset boundaries and improved service delivery, and this client is now our biggest and best. What a turnaround.
Wow. Like, that is incredible, because you know what could have easily happened? Tracy could have been like, oh, that's a shitty client, I'm going to fire them. And then how much effort and time would it have taken to get a replacement client on board and then to build them up to what is now the biggest client that they have? Like, that would have taken such a waste of resources, when actually like doing one Zoom meeting could turn things around so well. I love that you actually listened properly to that episode, Tracy, and had the maturity look inside at yourself first instead of blaming the client for being a shitty client. Like
Yeah,
that takes courage too.
it does. When I read this, the first thing I thought was, that the Zoom meeting with the client, that's the easy bit, right? Like I feel like the Zoom meeting and turning it around is the easy bit. I think the hard bit is being able to really look inwards and reflect and just go, you know what? I'm not perfect, or you know what? Yeah, I've dropped the ball, or I stuffed up. Like that can be a hard pill to swallow. But
Yeah.
yes, right.
You're admitting that you're doing something not right, or like that you could be better. Yeah.
Yeah. So amazing, Tracy. Amazing. Yeah. Well done. And thank you for sharing.
All right. And next we have Toya Marie, who is from Shadow Administration. She writes that there are so many that struck something for me, but the one that really resonated was episode 134. Why the fuck are you not taking holidays? It was actually this episode that gave me the push I needed to take a week off, and in another country even. And after doing this, really solidified for me the fact that my team were actually so amazing and didn't need me to manage them or the clients. In hindsight, it's probably what really started the trajectory agency for me. She is now on maternity leave with her newborn baby who is just a few weeks old. And I love that she took the time to write this to us, showing us exactly like in that moment, like she was holding her baby, having time off, and her team again is looking after the clients. It is really lucky that she listened to that episode.
How lucky.
Because now she can have the maternity leave knowing, because she's had that week off and proven to herself, so she didn't have to panic and worry in that lead up to having a baby. Like, who wants to be worrying about their business? So yeah, you're not lucky. You purposefully chose to listen to that episode and then you put things in place to her. So we don't want to take that away from you.
I feel like this is, I'm gonna call it. I reckon of all the stories that we're sharing on this episode, this is the biggest turnaround is Toya's story. Toya went from not having any time off, like not even like a long weekend, burnt out, miserable, feeling really stuck, to having maternity leave where she's not required. I mean, that is an incredible jump. Massive. And the other thing that I laughed as soon as I saw Toya share this with us, because a lot of listeners say to us, oh, I just listened to X episode. And was this about me? And we always laugh. It's like, no. What you are feeling is very, very normal. There are hundreds of others, thousands of other virtual assistants who are experiencing it too. So it's absolutely not about you. This episode was totally for Toya.
It was about you, Toya. So we're glad you listened.
It's 100% for Toya. We'd had a conversation and we'd realized the softly approach was not helping Toya. So literally that week we were, okay, we're going to do a podcast episode about Toya's situation, and the hope that she hears it via this way of us sharing the message, because the other ways it just wasn't getting through. So,
which is why the fuck is in the title, because we wanted to emphasize this.
Thank you,
Sam. I've seen it twice in an episode just for you.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Toya. We are so happy that the episode exactly meant for you, that you actually listened.
Yeah. And now you get to enjoy your newborn baby, which we're super excited. So congratulations.
Very cool. Okay, next up, Vanessa from Vanessa Assist says, for me, it was the episode on creating a wait list, which is episode 167. I found it so helpful being on the brink of needing to hire in that awkward place where you just don't know what to say.
Yeah. Sometimes just knowing the words to say is so damn helpful. So we're so glad now, Vanessa, that you know exactly what to say. And reframing that like waitlist to being actually a really good thing. And it's so attractive when you're booked out, you have a waitlist, and you'll be surprised about how many clients are actually happy to be on a waitlist because they want to work with you. They've already decided they want to work with you, and now they'll wait.
Yeah. Some of the feedback we got after this episode came out was like, oh, that's a great idea. I hadn't even thought of the wait list. But, the overthinking then kicked in. Oh, well, what if the person I'm suggesting the wait list to doesn't want to be on the wait list? Well, then they're not on the wait list. Forget about it. It's okay. They go somewhere else.
Yeah. Move on. Yeah.
Move on.
All right. Next, we have Catherine Hill from 1 Echo Alpha. Catherine's favorite episode is 100. No, not favorite. I keep saying favorite. It's not. It's the one that made the biggest impact. Episode 169. The differences between a great VA and a great VA business owner. She says, this one really spoke to me and made me go, OMG, I need to change some things. Sometimes you just need to hear advice over and over before it sinks in. You're not wrong, Kat. I think it's 7 times. You need to hear something 7 times in an organization before you believe that it's important or understand that okay, this is happening, or this is the truth, or this is real. And I think it's the same when you're listening to advice from like others and experts and, people online. You do. You got to hear it over and over.
Oh, this is the thing that I've struggled with most since stepping into the coaching space. I think like I used to fight this. I'm like, but we've said it a million times. Like, why are people not listening? But I'm now at the point where I get it. We absolutely just have to repeat things over and over and over again. Because that person might not be in the space where they're ready to actually hear that advice.
Yeah. And sometimes you can listen to things and not even hear the advice because it's not the right time for you. You might re-listen to the same training or the same video again and pick out completely different things when it is the right time for you to hear those things. So, Kat, you've now listened. You have been making big changes in your business lately, which we are super proud of, and growing your team, which is exciting. So well done, Kat.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Kat. Okay, we've got one final story that we want to share. And that's Mel's story. Mel Weston from Virtual Mel says, episode 139, Back to Basic. This was a great episode. It reminds me not to get distracted by the new shiny thing and refreshing the basics. Stick to what is already working while keeping up to date with the areas you are niching in. This episode helped me let go of some of the services that I was offering and niche down and look at my package and pricing. Cool.
That's amazing. Mel, we love that you have heard the messages about niching, and you don't have to be all the things to everyone, because we know that that was putting you into some really big overwhelm at times. And now simplifying allows you to stick to the basics. Keep upskilling in just your niche area is so freeing. So we love this for you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Mel. It's something that we see quite often in the VA space, virtual assistants that have started out thinking this is going to be an amazing opportunity for them to get the freedom and the flexibility that they're looking for. And then a few months in, they might have a couple of clients under their belt, and it's kind of like, well, I just feel stuck. Like I'm just at this point and I can't get any further. And generally, you've got to go back to the basics. Get those basics right. Get those business fundamentals in place, and then you're going to be able to start moving on again.
Yeah. So thank you everyone who has shared all of your transformations from listening to the podcast episodes. And we hope that this now has given you a list of episodes to go and have a listen to or a re-listen to and have some listening for your summer holiday here in New Zealand or your Christmas, New Year, holiday season break if you are elsewhere. So we hope that you now have an amazing list to go back to.
And thank you to every single VA business owner that has shared their stories and have allowed this episode to come to life.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the VA Foundry website to check out the Mastermind and the amazing resources, courses, and coaching.
You can find us at thevafoundry.com.